Welcome to Q&A with, a show where I focus on the role behind the person to give you some insight into how to operate in their world.
Hello, my name is Davo, and today we have
Elsie Ayotune Cullen, and I'm the community manager at GUAP magazine.
Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
So, what exactly is the role of a community manager?
I think the role of a community manager differs according to the company and according to the needs of the company. But for me, working at GUAP, my role as the community manager involves me putting on events, workshops, opportunities for our audience, as well as collaborating with horizontal brands, organizations, companies that share similar values to us, as well as managing 20 creatives on collaboration that we have with Adidas, where it's a year-long program called the Originals Creator Network. Where I'm managing 20 young creatives.
Quite hands-on role there.
Yeah.
When you're just going through what your role is, to me, it did feel like there was some overlap between what a marketing manager does as well as a events planner or events manager. Just how much overlap is there, or is it very distinct in what your role is?
No, I think my role is there's a lot of like difference and overlap in what I do. So there's a lot of events planning that I have to do. A lot of people planning, project management that I have to do, marketing. Yeah, it's a very overlapped role. I think where GUAP is still kind of in like a startup phase, I think that's just the nature of the job really and the company.
So then, within your role, how do you collaborate and liaise with other members within your unit or your team?
So our team is quite small. There are about 17 of us, 15 to 17 of us, and all of us work quite closely together. Just on everything that we do at GUAP. So even with our covers, like there's a big group discussion. When we have like events, there's a big group discussion. We'll have like brainstorms together about certain stuff. My role specifically, I work a lot with the social media manager. For example, if we have like call outs, exhibitions, opportunities, obviously everything has to go through the social media because that's our main platform. I work a lot with the senior staff, so like the two co-founders, because everything that I do is a reflection of the company, and a reflection of, our brand value, our brand values.
Yeah.
And so like if I'm doing an exhibition, I have to pitch to them and say, okay, this is what I want to do. What do you guys think about it? And they'll give me feedback, etc. Working with editors as well, because I'm not an editor, but I will have like maybe like editorials or features or interviews that will fall under each of the editors' sections, and so I work a lot with them as well, like keeping them abreast of what I'm doing, and ways that I can get involved with what they're doing as well. So yeah.
How did you become a community manager in the first place?
I think my journey has been a long one. I think one of my first projects was someone said they wanted to do like a comedy/drama event.
Okay.
And because I had moved around a lot, I was looking a lot of circles. I just knew people that could do stuff. So people would come to me, kind of like a producer, and would come to me and be like, "Hey, Elsie, do you know someone that can do this?" And I'd be like, "Yeah, this person." I would like connect a lot of people and a lot of dots, and just be proactive and help out where necessary. And so that's kind of how I started getting off in. Yeah, started off kind of like in that kind of like production, ish. Lucy said production role. And then from there, people just put me in random positions. So I think I was creative director at 16 from my friend's company.
Oh, wow.
But it's just like, these roles, it's like, I don't know what this means, but okay, I'll just do it.
Yeah.
And then it's around the time I was 18, I joined a collective, an art collective. And so we were doing like a lot of like exhibitions, shows around London. And then after a while, I wanted to get into workshops. Because off the back of me helping out a friend with their event, I met my sister's best friend who had her own PR company.
Okay.
This is a long story. She had her own PR company, and we were both at a meeting together. She was representing the venue and I was representing my friend. And she was like, "Oh my God, like you did so well in the meeting. Like you should come and work for me when you finished college, da da da." And I was like, "Okay." So literally I finished college. I went on a GAP trip to India as well for a while. I was doing some volunteering out there as well. So when I came back, I started working for her, and she kind of like gave me experience on like event management, putting on workshops, etc., etc. And so I kind of linked what I was doing with the collective and what I was doing in PR to like start running like community workshops, free workshops every month. And then from there, people started me to keep on doing stuff. So I think around 21 is when I was asked to produce a week-long festival at a community centre, which I did. And then after that, I volunteered with someone managing a gallery in Peckham, and I put on a few events there. And that's actually where I met the GUAP guys, because I was putting on an event at Peckham Levels, and I asked them to be media partners. And then from there, we kind of like built a friendship, built a relationship, and then I was still doing like my own creative stuff, my own workshops, stuff here and there. And then I think we was on our trip back from Dubai, or on a holiday, like a lad's holiday. And I was saying that like I want to do more stuff for the community, and they said, "Oh yeah, you should just join. Like you should work for us 1 day a week." As a community manager, I was like, "All right."
For where you work now, what is the demographics of the community?
So we typically define our community as 18 to 35-year-olds that come from underrepresented backgrounds, including, Black and minority ethnic groups. So that's what I would say is how we define our community.
So how long have you been a community manager for?
Yeah, so I've been a community manager officially for the last year. I was full-time from last February 2021 till this February 2022. And then from this February, I became full-time. So, about a year officially. And then I've been the founder of a community interest company for the last, 6 years. Since 2016.
16, yeah.
Yeah. So 6 years. So different, but yeah. So officially community manager for the last year.
And you've chosen, at least working for somebody else within the media industry. Why the media industry?
Again, I wouldn't really call it, it is the media industry, but I think it's the creative media industry, and I think it's also there's like nuances, I think, for where GUAP sits. GUAP is a creative media company, whereas, I don't know, the community and the industry that I'm part of, it's just like vibes. It's not.
Trends.
It's not like
new. It's
media.
fast. It's vibrant.
It feels like home, because a lot of these people that I've known since I was in like college, secondary school. That I'm working in the same industry even now. So it doesn't feel like it feels like a lot like home.
Earlier you mentioned that you work with brands. You also work with influencers or celebrities.
We do. Yeah, we do. That necessarily isn't where my role fits in, but we have done like a lot of campaigns. We do like a lot of editorials, campaigns, features. We will feature like artists, influencers, hosts, dancers, fashion people, from all different like parts of the industry. So yeah, we do.
Your role does sound quite fun, to be honest with you.
It is. I love it.
So then, what would you say then are some of the challenges or drawbacks of your role?
The challenges that I'd say I face within my role, I think it's probably just myself, like just being organized. Because there's a lot of like juggling. There's a lot of balls that I'm juggling. Like managing 20 people is a lot, because we're managing them. The way that I approach the job is that it's not just the creative side. It's okay, how can I support you, personally, professionally, mentally, emotionally? Do you know what I mean? That's the aim of how I want to support the people that are on the program. So doing that alongside, like trying to create pitches for exhibitions, and then I'm talking to venues and client stuff. There's a lot of stuff happening. So I think it's mainly the organisation that I find to be challenging. So I'm doing my masters as well at the same time. So you said like trying to do my dissertation now against like amidst everything else. It's just a lot of like juggling balls. So, but aside from that, I think another challenge would probably be just making sure that you're listening to your community, and that you're not just doing stuff based off what you think is good for people, but you're actually trying to be responsive to what people want, and create spaces to actually listen.
What's your hours like? How many hours do you need to clock in?
So I am 4 days a week, 8 hours a day. So I work 10:30 to 6:30 p.m. Realistically, Again, because like I live and breathe this community, it's like you're out and about, like, so it doesn't feel like you really turn off because your friend will say, "Oh, can you do this for me?" And it's like, okay, and it'll be a Saturday or it'll be a Sunday, and it's like, okay, no problem. Or like even when we went to Malta, Malta was a holiday, but I still ended up coming back and writing a review on it. So it's like, well, was that media work or was that a holiday? It's definitely a holiday, but you know what I mean? Some people get paid to go to these festivals to write and to work and to document.
Was it for the DLT? Price? Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. You can read my review online if you want. Yeah. But yeah.
Okay, that's it. It's there's a quote unquote set hours, but within truly it's whatever it is really.
Yeah. Like when I had my exhibition, I think I was doing like 7 days a week, a lot of hours to get that over the line. So yeah, it just depends.
I know it may be hard to give an exact sort of percentage, but are you able to, I guess, give us a rough estimate in terms of how your day-to-day role is split?
Yeah. So emails, a lot of emails. So for example, on a Monday morning, we'll come into the office. I'll check my emails for about half an hour. Then we'll have our morning meeting, which lasts for about 30 minutes to an hour. After that, probably back to emails.
Yeah.
If there's features that I want to write up, I'll probably spend for any like articles or stuff that I have to write, I'll probably spend like a whole day doing that because it can be a lot. Writing. And then maybe like 2 hours of like me planning stuff and pitching stuff. Because I also run the workshops as well. So I have my evenings, for example, Wednesday evenings, where I'm going to be going to the Adidas store to facilitate the workshops from 6 to 9 p.m. So it varies. Events in the evenings. It's that's how I don't know how to split that up. I'd say it's about 40% planning, 40% emails, 40% planning, 40% planning, 30% emails. That gives me 30 left.
30 left, yeah.
And then 30% like people or like actual
hustle and bustling, just going
calling,
around,
how's this,
the grinds, making things happen basically. Yeah. I know that one too well. Again, we had this whole talk about media, creative media, and you know how you said the creative media vibrant, fast paced, and everything.
Yeah.
So within this industry, do you feel as though you have to be on the latest trends, the latest means or hot topics, the latest tech? And if so, how do you stay on top of that?
I think to a certain extent we do, and I think that's why like at GUAP we do work with a lot of young people. The youngest person on our team is 19 years old.
Okay.
And I'm 27 now, so there's quite a big age range amongst us. But that being said, so in terms of like keeping up with new trends, like we have the younger generation that will work with us, that keep us on our toes. And I think it's just part of like day-to-day life now. Like everyone's aware of everything that's happening because of like social media and stuff.
Twitter, TikTok.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. How do you prioritize the issues for the company you work for versus what the audience wants? How do you manage that?
I think my disposition is always towards what the audience thinks and wants, because that's essentially who I am representing or trying to connect with. And so when we have like our group meetings, it's not necessarily that me that's trying to prioritize them or the company or this. It's okay, I'm thinking about the audience, and then whoever else, the founders or the editors or this or that are thinking about their sections, and that's where we all come together and have that brainstorm. And it's just really about whoever makes the most, salient, relevant point. Like for example, like with the creatives that I manage, like I'll be like, okay, I know the program is set like this, and we've said we want to do this. However, I've spoken to them, and this is the feedback they've given me, and 10 people have said it. So therefore, this is evidence to show that this is what we need to focus on. And it goes with everything else really as well. Like what people are saying how how importantly do we take it? Because essentially, like, our audience is what drives what we do, if that makes sense. So yeah.
But how do you get the information from the audience? Is it questionnaires? Is it just being in the mix with them? Is it looking at social media? How do you figure what they want out?
Yeah, so it's been in the mix, social media analytics as well, because we do like a lot of like social media reports and stuff like that. Feedback. I'm big on like feedback and questionnaires and forms and stuff like that. And then as of recent, we've developed this series called Creators Corner, where people can come to the office and work from the office and just like chat to us and tell us like what's going on with them, how they feel, etc., etc. And within that Creative Corner day, there's an opportunity for some of the people that come to have a focus group with the co-founder. And so again, like, we can just get to understand like what is important to them, what are they driven by, etc., etc. So yeah, we're trying to be like more open, and I think we're quite open anyway because we're everywhere. Like, we're at the parties, or do you know what I mean? Like, we're amongst the community. Like, we're not separate from it. We are a part of it, and so there's a lot of listening going on.
Yeah, ears on the ground.
Yeah, as much as possible.
And I know I asked you a question about some of the challenges, and you said the biggest challenge is probably yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So then, what has been your greatest achievement, or something that you've been very proud of?
Just going back to your the question before, another challenge I'd say, for especially like a startup, versus like the community, is that I think people have a perception of like what is, or what any like Wonderland, this magazine, that platform is, without and people like kind of like, what's the word, romanticize what they think these platforms should be or should do, or how organized, or how this or how established they should be. But I think being on the inside, when you realize that no, it's a lot of people that are still learning on the job, there is a startup where we're not going to get everything right. There's a lot of things that we're still learning. I think it's interesting to see just like what people's expectations are versus like what it looks like to actually do that in real time and on real ground. So yeah, that's how I'd add to that. My greatest achievement as a community manager, there's been so many great achievements that I'm really proud of. I'd say probably the first thing is probably going to be like the Originals Creator Network with Adidas. Like, it just amazes me the fact that we have all this resource to support 20 young people. And I think just seeing like some of them like really take it and really benefit from it, and really like receive tangible support from it, is like amazing to me. And I feel so privileged to be in a position where I can like support them on their journey. And I think also another really big achievement for me was probably the exhibition that I did in March for Mother's Day. Because I think it was a really emotional exhibition that brought a lot of people to tears, brought a lot of people just reflect on their own personal relationships with their mums, and just seeing the emotional impact that it had on the people that came. That was a big achievement for me as well.
That sounds pretty cool.
Yeah.
This one's I guess a bit personal, so I'm not asking you to answer it based on your own salary, but the salary range. Do you know what the salary range for a community manager is?
So I've looked online actually, and I think it ranges between something like 27 to 35k. Again, I think it just depends on what kind of company you're working for, what the role entails. Because again, like, the definition of community manager is very different depending on what company you work for. Some of them are just social media based, and it's like managing people on the dots or managing people online, whereas my role isn't like that. So I think it just depends on what company you work for. But I've seen it's about 27 to 35k per annum.
So for anybody interested in being a community manager, what would you say to them?
I'd say just start. Like, just start. Your community is, the people that you have around you, and the people that you value, and the people that you want to be in community with. So just start. Like, whatever you want to do, like, do it. If you want to put on a book club, my first book club, there was about 3 of us. That was on the GUAP office, and based on like what people think or define as success, 3 people coming to a book club shouldn't be the start of what I'm doing now, but it was. Do you know what I mean? So I said, don't despise small beginnings. and don't underestimate how much value you hold in just bringing people together around stuff that you value.
Okay, I guess this is the last question I have, and the most important question. What would you like to include in our playlist?
Oh my gosh. What would I like to include in the playlist? Abusi Junction by Kokoroko. Kokoroko. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much. Thank you for your time. Hey, my name's Elsie. I'm a community manager, and this is Osani TV.
If you've enjoyed this video, please do comment, like, share, and subscribe.